This watch might just be the most blatant Shameless rip-off on AliExpress, a clone of one of the most striking and impressive watches in recent history. The Homage watch debate will rage for eternity, but is this watch worth buying, or is it nothing more than an insult to a modern classic? Keep watching to find out. Hello there, if you're new here, my name is Louis and this is As Time Decides. At this point I would normally say this is the insert name here watch, but this watch doesn't even have a name. It came in a piece of bubble wrap, in an unbranded box, and the watch is completely unbranded too. But what I do know is that this watch is a rip-off of the Berneron Mirage Sienna. Let me just briefly talk about that watch because it really is a marvel of modern watchmaking. Not only is it absolutely gorgeous, it's also an extraordinary feat of watchmaking prowess with its decorated caliber 233 solid gold movement. But with that comes a suitably high price tag. It costs 65,000 Swiss francs, not including VAT. Or shall I say, did cost, because even if you can afford that price tag, production is full for the next 3 years and the order book is now closed. In fact, a Prussian blue model just sold at auction for 241,300 Swiss francs, which is crazy money by anyone's standards. But it doesn't take away anything from the watch itself, which is brilliant. Ironically, some of the early criticism of the Berneron Mirage was that it was a Cartier crash rip-off, which does make me laugh. I often moralise about homage watches, like I'm sure many of you do, but I've not been able to reach a conclusive opinion on the matter. Where is the line between homage and fake? If I make a one-to-one copy of a watch but put my own name on the dial, is that okay? If not, how much of a watch can you copy before it becomes unacceptable? How much time should pass before copying a unique and interesting design is okay? Is it okay to homage expensive watches? Are so-called affordable watches fair game or off limits? It's really funny really, because the Swiss watch industry itself has a murky history. It was essentially founded upon counterfeiting high-end British watches on an industrial scale, which eventually killed off British watchmaking as a going concern and made the Swiss industry the dominant force it remains today. And of course, in terms of copycatting, the Swiss have been doing it to each other for decades. So really, are the Chinese just doing to the Swiss what the Swiss did to the British all those years ago? I think it's a complicated topic and you can't really narrow it down to a binary. There are a lot of grey areas and you don't have to pick sides anyway. But if you must pick sides, whichever side of the fence you stand, this watch really does test the limits of the term homage. I think I could safely admit that there is little chance of me ever buying a Berneron watch. And so buying this filthy clone hasn't cost the brand a sale. It also probably doesn't need to be said that I've never gotten hands on with a Berneron Mirage Sienna, so I can't give a true comparison. Not that there's any comparison really anyway, except on a purely aesthetic level, of course. What I can do is judge the watch on its own merit, or lack thereof, to give my first impression of the watch and overall opinion. I think most people know within seconds of seeing a watch, getting hands on with a watch or wearing a watch, whether it's a winner or a loser. You just get a feel for it. And my first impression of this watch is that it's the cheapest and flimsiest watch I've ever handled. From a distance, the rose gold coloured case looks like it's made of a metal, but it's so lightweight it feels almost plasticky in hand. It doesn't feel like a proper watch, it feels more like costume jewellery or a kid's toy. The strap looks like a buffalo grain leather, but I'm sure it has to be faux leather. Even so, it's probably still better than the watch itself. The dial looks the part, but it's actually incredibly difficult to read because unlike the Berneron, the 12 marker is not dead centered. Do you align the hands with the markers to tell the time, or simply rely on the position of the hands as if it were a standard round dial? I don't really know. This watch is all about looks and style, but even so it still needs to function as a watch. The movement is a quartz with a sub-seconds complication. Water resistance, no idea, probably none at all, or perhaps 30 meters. On the wrist it actually wears really well. It measures 38mm tall by 34mm wide at its tallest and widest points, with a lug-to-lug of around 41mm. It's relatively slim too, which always helps. I thought it would be too big for my tiny wrist, but it just about works, and if you have a slightly larger wrist, say 6.5 or 7 inches, it's probably going to be perfect. The question is, should you buy this watch? I think there's room on the market for a Berneron Homage, but the quality of the materials and the build here just isn't quite good enough. The problem is this watch costs around £30, which is cheap, but for a few pounds more, you can get something from, say, Adi's Dive, which is way better quality. This watch needs an increase in quality across the board, but as it stands, unfortunately, I do think it is a waste of money. If for some reason you do want to purchase this watch, there is an affiliate link in the description below. You don't pay any extra, but I may receive a small commission, which helps to keep this channel going. I don't regret buying this though, because it has given me the opportunity to talk about the Berneron Mirage Sienna, which deserves all of the plaudits. And let me just say this, if I win the lottery tonight, I'll be at the next auction, waiting with a blank cheque for sure. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. That's all I've got time for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again next time.